Pittsburgh, Dayton train, this is Wilson.
So we're out here today for two reasons, right? One is to stand in solidarity with Charlottesville and the tragedy that took place there. The second is because we know that these neo-Nazis, these alt-right folks, are on their way to Berkeley and San Francisco on the 26th and 27th. And opposed to waiting to those days to come out in droves and tell them they are not welcome here, we figured we'd start now.
This pain is an old pain. This is not new. And a lot of people are up in arms because they feel like their privilege is in jeopardy, right? But we've been facing this forever. This is the same pain that we've been experiencing since slave ships touched down in Africa.
And we know that they troll our internet sites and our news cycles, so hopefully they are reading and watching this as it happens, as we send a very clear message. You are not welcome in the Bay. We are not scared of you. We will not stay inside. We do not cower to bullies. And these are our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets.
This country is founded on a lie. All of us that have grown up in this false education in the United States of America has been founded on a lie. And I'm so sick and tired. I've been watching the news the last few days, and people keep talking about all these great Americans that this country is founded on. Talking about Thomas Jefferson, who owned slaves. Talking about George Washington, who owned slaves. What we are dealing with right now is the legacy of this country. It is a legacy of a country that has built itself upon the plunder and the destruction of black bodies and native bodies, and it's time for us to start telling the truth.
This shirt that I'm wearing, it says, Oakland police killed 1,000 Trayvons. Every time people stand by and watch a black or brown brother, sister, person killed by white supremacist law enforcement and think, oh well, that emboldens these white power people, these neo-Nazis. Every time that a city planning commission meets and says, oh, we can just get rid of that black neighborhood, we're gonna build a new business district, that emboldens these white power extremists, and those people are white power extremists too, and they are killing our communities as well. There is no separation.
When Trump got into office, there were some key things that took place. And we saw this progression happening while he was on the campaign trail. These are the same forces that were providing security during the rallies. These are the same forces that were assaulting black women in these rallies. The same forces that Donald Trump said, get them out of here. Hit them again. Because see, the case I want to state is that these forces are surrogates of the state. That's important.
We all need to have eyes in our head and say, no, it's not okay what's happening in this country. In Kentucky, in the last weekend of April, there was a Nationalist Front meetup, but I've never seen anything like what I saw in the streets of Pikeville, Kentucky. And a lot of those same folks that arrived in a 30-car caravan with police escorts marched in with rifles because it's an open carry state, just like in Charlottesville. Those folks came and they plugged their sound system into the county courthouse. The state gave them power to have their free speech. They were outnumbered by maybe 20 counter-protesters. And we stood there in a tense standoff, and yeah, everyone had their First Amendment rights. And the locals came out and they were appalled. It's time to say no. You don't get to have space in a town to promote an agenda of white supremacy. Yeah.
They use paramilitary forces to crush dissenters. That's what's happening. Be clear on that. When he got into office, he took them off the terrorist watch list. Y'all hear what I'm saying? He took them off of the watch list. Why is that important? That's a sure indicator that the objective was to give them cover and unleash them on our asses. So he's using them as shock troops to get us in line.
And I saw something I've never seen before in the Bay Area. Maybe in San Francisco, but not in Oakland, not walking bravely down the streets of Oakland. And that was two skinheads with the laces and the cobwebs and the tats, the whole thing. And they stopped, and I stopped, and he stared at me, and I stared at him. Motherfucker, you don't scare me, right?
Had somebody tell me that if we did a proper analysis of what happened to folks during these different periods when white supremacist organizations, slave owners, and the like were perpetrating violence, it would be a horror movie unlike anything you've ever seen. Because the movies, the books, and the stories that are told don't even begin to get into the levels of heinous violence that these people have perpetrated. So it tells you everything about what's happening with the current administration in this smash and grab phase. That there's a attempt to create a fallacious parallel between the people who have stood in defense in opposition to this.
Lastly, what I want to say to all of our white allies and sisters and brothers out here, if you down with people of color, then we want to see you on the front lines resisting these white Nazis and KKK folks that want to bring a threat against black and brown and native people.
Say it with me. If they touch any, they gotta deal with the many. If they touch any, they gotta deal with the many. If they touch any, they gotta deal with the many. Make it a reality, not just a mantra.
Because what the news does not report, right, what the news has not reported is that every time they let those hate-filled bastards into Berkeley, at night after the rallies were over, a lesbian couple was attacked. Black people were attacked. Muslim people were attacked. Businesses that had Black Lives Matter in the windows had their windows broken. So their free speech led directly to violence impacted on our most marginalized community. Fuck your free speech, I want sanctuary. They're coming back, y'all. They're coming back the 26th and the 27th. We gotta be ready. We hope to see you Wednesday night. You can take that model and build it in your neighborhoods, on your block, in your community.